Hello everyone! In this video, we'll go over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Orange Unit 9 words. You can follow along at home using your book. Let's get started! Our first word is convict. Convict is a verb and it means to prove or judge to be guilty. When you convict someone, you are saying that they did something wrong in a court. And they are guilty of doing some crime, so they did something bad. Now, the person who can convict someone, or the person who can say that they did a crime, is called a judge. Let's look at the example sentence. It says, the jury voted to convict the defendant. So, in a courtroom, this image here is what a courtroom would look like. It's where people who did a crime go to see if they are guilty, if they did it, or if they are innocent. And in this courtroom, there are people called the jury. And they listen to what the lawyer has to say, and then they do a vote where they say if someone is guilty, so if they did the bad thing, or if they are innocent, if they didn't do it. So in this sentence here, the jury voted that the person is guilty. The person, we call them the defendant. And then after they vote, the judge will convict them. The judge will send them to jail. So another example of using this word would be, the judge convicted him of stealing money. So the judge said that he is guilty. He did the bad thing. We also use this word as a noun. The spelling is the same, but it's pronounced a little bit different. When it's a noun, we put emphasis on this first part, so we say it a little bit stronger. So when it's a noun, it is a convict. He is a convict. But when it's a verb, we put emphasis on the last part, convict. So this is the part that we're making a bigger sound for. So when we use this word as a noun, a convict is a person who has been proved guilty of a crime and sentenced to prison. So after someone is convicted, they become the convict. They are now guilty and they will go to jail or prison. Someone who is serving a long prison term. So also someone who's already in prison or jail and they are there for a long time, we call them a convict. The example says, in a prison, a convict is usually given a job to do. So again, a person who did something illegal or against the law and is now in prison is called a convict. And the verb convict means to send them to the jail or prison. Some synonyms for convict are to condemn and sentence. Antonyms are to acquit, free, and release. And for the noun convict, synonyms are a prisoner, inmate, felon, or criminal. And there are no antonyms for convict as a noun. Our next word is discipline. Discipline is a noun, and there are a few different definitions for discipline. The first one is punishment, training that results in obedience and self-control. So when we discipline someone, we are helping them follow the rules, or we're helping them stay in control. Their behavior will be orderly, so their behavior will be in control. And usually we get control by enforcing the rules of conduct. So if there are rules, then we follow those rules and there will be punishments if the rules are not followed. Let's look at the examples. It says, drill instructors insist on strict military discipline. So in this sentence, there is a drill instructor, which is like a teacher in the military. And these drill instructors usually insist, so they really want to be strict about discipline. They want to make sure that all of the soldiers are following the rules, that they are obedient, so they are listening, and that they have good self-control. So they're not going wild or going out of control. They're listening to what the teachers are saying. So that is discipline. I could also say the teacher praised her class for their good discipline. So if the class has good behavior, or if they are listening well to the teacher, then she might praise them. She might say, "Good job for having good discipline." Another example would be, he showed discipline by finishing his homework before playing games. So he showed discipline. He showed that he has self-control. He can control himself because instead of going to play games right away, he decided to do his homework instead. So that shows good discipline, good control. And discipline can also be a branch of knowledge, which is kind of like saying a subject that you learn about in school or in university. For example, I could say, science is an important discipline studied in school. Some synonyms are direction, drill, and practice. Antonyms are confusion, disorder, and rebellion. This word discipline can also be used as a verb, so now it is an action and it means to punish, to train in proper behavior, to bring under control. So when you discipline someone, you are teaching them to follow the rules, or you are punishing someone for doing something wrong. For example, the principal knows how to discipline rowdy students. So rowdy students are the students that are very noisy, they can't calm down, they might not be able to sit down well. So in this sentence, the principal of the school knows how to discipline the rowdy students. So he knows how to train them or teach them good behavior. He knows how to bring them under control. That is disciplining. Another example would be, the coach disciplined the players for being late. So maybe these players were late to the practice and the coach decided to punish them or to teach them what happens when they do something like being late. And that he might be able to discipline them by having them run around the field. So that is discipline. And another example would be, the teacher had to discipline the student for bad behavior. So maybe the teacher had to bring him under control. He was having bad behavior, so she had to calm him down. That is discipline. Some synonyms of discipline are to correct, chastise, penalize, and limit. Antonyms are to forgive. Has there ever been a time where someone had to discipline you for having some bad behavior or for not following the rules? It can be anyone, like a teacher or even a parent. Our next word is dungeon. Dungeon is a noun, and a dungeon is a dark room or cell used as a prison, usually underground. And a dungeon does not really exist anymore in today's world. We don't use dungeons as prisons anymore, but a long time ago, dungeons would be where the bad guys or prisoners would be held. Usually there would be dungeons underneath big castles. This sample sentence says, the story described the terror of being locked in a dungeon. So as you can imagine, being locked in a dungeon might be very scary, so it might cause terror. Usually they're very dark and dirty, and when someone gets put in a dungeon, they might be there forever. So a dungeon is a dark underground room that's being used as a jail or a prison. Some synonyms are a keep and hole, and there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is earnest. Earnest is an adjective, and it means serious, important, or grave. So when someone is earnest, they are being very honest and they are not joking. They really mean what they are saying. For example, an earnest desire to help others may lead a person to choose a career in medicine. So in this sentence, we're saying that if someone is very honest or they really want to help other people, then that person might become a doctor in the future. They might choose to have a job in medicine. Remember, career means job. So if they are being honest and they are being very serious about wanting to help people, then that might be a good job for that person. Another example for earnest would be, she was earnest when she said sorry. So she said sorry to her friend, and when she said sorry, she was being earnest. So she was being serious. She really meant that she was sorry. We could also say, he gave an earnest answer to the teacher. So the teacher asked him a question, and the answer that he gave was an earnest answer. So it was very serious and it was honest. He really was telling the truth when he said that answer. And we could also say, I made an earnest promise to help my mom. So my promise was very honest and serious. I will really help my mom. So again, earnest means that you are being serious about something, you think it's important, and you really mean what you are saying. Some synonyms are intent and solemn. Antonyms are insincere, trivial, frivolous, and foolish. Our next word is enclose. Enclose is a verb and it means to surround on every side. To close up inside or fence off. To include with something else. The example says, be sure to enclose payment with the bill. So a bill is some money that you need to pay for something. It can be a service like your internet in your house, you have to pay money for that, or the water that you use in your house, you also have to pay money for that, and your electricity as well. So anytime that you get a paper in the mail that says how much money you have to pay, that is called a bill. And in this sentence, when you're paying the bill, you should make sure to enclose or include it inside of something. So you should enclose your payment, just like in this picture here. You can see the money is enclosed inside of this envelope. Another example would be, the fence encloses the playground. So remember, enclose also means to close up inside or fence off. So here around this playground, there is this fence. So I can say this playground is enclosed. It's closed off. The same is true with this park here. This is a dog park, and I can say, there's an enclosed dog park near my house. So this dog park is surrounded on every side and it is fenced off. There's no way for the dogs to go outside because there's a fence all around it, or it's closed off. Some synonyms are to confine, cage, to cover, to encircle, envelop, and to insert. And some antonyms are to release, free, to omit, exclude, and leave out. Our next word is gradual. Gradual is an adjective and it means happening step by step or by degrees, changing little by little. So something that is gradual doesn't just happen right away. It happens very slowly. The example says, there may be gradual improvement in a patient's condition after surgery. So after someone has a surgery, the patient will get better, but their improvement or their getting better will probably be gradual. So it will be slow. It will happen a little bit each day until finally they are better. Another example would be, the baby's hair grew in a gradual way. So here, when the baby is 1 month old, you can see it has just a little bit of hair. And then over time, now the baby is 6 months old and it has just a little bit more hair. So the hair didn't grow a lot or very quickly. It was gradual. It's happening slowly. The same can be said about the weather. There's usually a gradual change from cold to warm at the start of the spring. It's not just one day is freezing and then one day is extremely hot. There's a slow time when it's getting warmer and warmer. So we can describe it as being gradual. And a lot of times we talk about usually a road or a mountain having a gradual slope. So here, this blue one, it goes up slowly. But this red one here, this is a steep slope. So it goes up very quickly. So when you're going hiking, if you're not very good at hiking, you might want to find a mountain that has a gradual slope instead of a steep slope. Some synonyms are moderate, slow, and steady. Antonyms are sudden and abrupt. Our next word is grumble. Grumble is a verb and it means to complain angrily but not loudly, to growl. For example, many people grumble when they have to wait on a long line. So as you can imagine, if there is a line that is very long and the people have to wait because of this line, then they might start to grumble or they might start to complain. But in public, people don't want to be very loud, so they are complaining but not loudly. Maybe it's very quiet, like a whisper, like, why do I have to wait in this line? Why is this line so long? We can call that grumbling. They might have this expression on their face as well because they're angry. So they're showing their anger by making these quiet complaining sounds or saying complaining sentences, just not very loudly. Another example would be, I heard my brother grumble while doing his homework. So if your brother hates to do his homework, then he might be making some grumbling sounds like, I don't want to do homework. This is so hard. I don't want to do this. That kind of action would be called grumble. Some synonyms are to mutter, rumble, and mumble. And there are no antonyms for this word. Grumble can also be used as a noun, and it is a growling sound, a muttered complaint. For example, the flight delay brought a grumble from the passengers. So if there are many people waiting to get on an airplane or on a flight, and suddenly they hear that the flight will be late, then that might cause all of the passengers or the people that are waiting to grumble. So they might start complaining. And since grumble is also a growling sound, I can say, I heard the grumble of a bear in the forest. So it's a growling sound that you might hear from a bear, or you might also hear it from a dog. If you try to take away a dog's bone, for example, then they might start to grumble. And we often talk about our stomachs grumbling. So when you're very hungry, your stomach might grumble. It makes this growling sound when it's hungry. Another example would be, the students made a grumble when they heard about the extra homework assignment. Some synonyms for grumble are a fuss or a protest, and there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is jagged. Jagged is an adjective and it is with a rough or sharp edge, irregular or harsh. For example, I cut my hand on a jagged piece of broken glass. So anytime that something is rough or sharp, so here this glass would be something very sharp, we can describe it as being jagged. It's a jagged piece of glass. I could also describe rocks as being jagged. For example, I could say, we carefully climbed up the jagged rocks. We have to be careful around items that are jagged, that are rough or sharp because we might get hurt or cut. I could also say the monster had jagged teeth. You can see that they are very sharp looking. And we can also say the paper tore. So here I tore the paper, but it's not very straight. It's jagged. So the paper tore in a jagged line. It's a rough line. Some synonyms are ragged, serrated, uneven, and rugged. Antonyms are smooth, even, and regular. Our next word is nourish. Nourish is a verb and it means to feed or help grow and develop, to support. For example, adult birds nourish their newborns. So when you nourish something, you are giving it food or you're helping something grow. Here, this bird is nourishing her babies by giving them a worm. And mothers also nourish their babies by giving them milk. It's how we help them grow. We feed them milk. People also nourish plants by giving them some water and also by putting them in the sunlight. So I can say water and sunlight nourishes plants. And maybe when you're feeling sick, some soup will nourish you. It will support you or it will help you get better. Some synonyms for nourish are to nurture, raise, to foster, maintain, and sustain. Antonyms are to starve, neglect, and abandon. Our next word is provision. Provision is a noun, and provision is the act of supplying or making available a stock of food or supplies, a step taken in advance, a condition, as in a contract. There's quite a few definitions for provision, so let's take a look at the important ones first. The example says, a good hotel makes every possible provision for its guests. So when you go to a good hotel, there might be items like this. These are necessary items or necessary supplies that people need when they go somewhere. So for example, there might be a toothbrush and toothpaste and some soap and body wash and other items that people need when traveling. So a good hotel will provision or they will give you these things. It's kind of like saying they are giving you the things that you need. So it could be food or it could be items to keep you clean. For example, we could also say the campers packed lots of provisions. So when they went camping, they needed to pack things like food and water and their sleeping items. So all of these things can be called provisions. They are the stock of food or supplies that someone needs or someone has. Another example would be the ship carried provisions for the long trip. If this ship is going on a long trip, then they need to supply things for the people that will be on the ship. They need to make sure that the people will have food to eat and other items that people need. So those are called provisions. And for provision, it can also be a condition, as in a contract. So here's an example of that. Let's say that your school wants to work with a restaurant to give all of the students lunch. So the school and the restaurant will sign a contract together. And a contract is just like a piece of paper that says all of the things that both of the places will do, or all of the things that they are expecting to do. So in this contract, there might be a part called a provision that it says the restaurant will give the students at least one piece of fruit every day with their lunch. So that is called a provision. It's a condition, something that one place must do. And if they don't do this thing, if they don't give at least one piece of fruit every day for lunch, then they will not work together. Some synonyms for provision are an arrangement, preparation, and a requirement. And there are no antonyms for this word. We can also use provision as a verb, and it is to supply with food or materials. So now it's the action of giving someone food or materials that they need. For example, it takes tons of food to provision an army. If you want to give food to an army where there are thousands of soldiers, then it takes a lot of food to give to those soldiers. Another example would be, the people of the town provisioned the victims of the storm. So there was a big storm and many people lost their homes and all the things that they had. So the people of the town supplied or gave them the food and the materials that they needed. That is to provision someone. Some synonyms are to furnish and stock, and there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is treaty. Treaty is a noun, and a treaty is an arrangement or contract between countries, arrived at after talks and compromise. The legal document representing such an agreement. So a treaty is basically a piece of paper between two countries. And the treaty says that they promise that they will work together. And usually this paper or this contract is made after they talk for a long time about what both countries want. So the example says, the warring nations finally signed a peace treaty. So in this sentence, there's two countries that are at war. They are fighting. And they finally signed the treaty that says they will stop fighting. So a treaty is just something that two countries agree on. They both think we should do this and they decide to do it. Some synonyms of treaty are a pact, settlement, and accord. And there are no antonyms for this word. Our next word is uneasy. Uneasy is an adjective and it means feeling worried or unsure, causing discomfort. The example says, I often feel uneasy before a final exam. So maybe you feel this way too. When you have a test or a final exam at school, do you feel worried or maybe you're not sure if you will do well? That feeling that you have can be described as uneasy. Another example would be being in a dark room. If you're scared of the dark, you might feel uneasy when you're in a dark room. And if you have a pet like a dog or a cat, they are usually uneasy during storms. They don't like the sound of lightning and thunder. It makes them feel worried or uncomfortable, so they feel uneasy. And the last example, some people might feel uneasy about trying new food. If they are a little bit picky with their food and they don't like to try new things, then they might feel uneasy. They might feel unsure if they want to eat that food. Some synonyms of uneasy are troubled, anxious, and nervous. Antonyms are relaxed and calm. And that's all for this video. We went over the Vocabulary Workshop Level Orange Unit 9 words. Thank you so much for listening and see you next time. Bye!